Welcome to Enchanted Sleep. Tonight, let go of everything you carried through the day. Settle into the place you're resting now. Feel your body grow heavy, your breath grow slow, your mind grow quiet. Tonight, we are not going into a forest. Tonight, we are going somewhere older. Somewhere built of stone and candlelight and the smell of paper that has waited centuries to be read. Close your eyes and let the story begin. There was once a librarian named Wren. Not the kind of librarian who works in a bright, ordinary building with humming lights and squeaking carts. Wren worked somewhere far stranger, a library that did not appear on any map, that could only be found by those who needed it, on nights when they most needed quiet. It was called the Library Between. Tall shelves rose into darkness, so high their tops could not be seen, even by candlelight. The air smelled of old leather, dust, beeswax, and something faintly like rain on warm stone. A fire crackled low in a great stone hearth at the center of the room, throwing soft orange light across spines of books bound in colors that didn't quite exist anywhere else. Deep mossy greens, dusky violets, the blue of a sky just before snow. Tonight, the library was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels full rather than empty. Wren moved slowly between the shelves, carrying a single candle in a brass holder, checking on the books the way a gardener checks on sleeping plants. Some books rustled faintly as she passed, their pages turning themselves just slightly, just enough to feel acknowledged. She attended this library for longer than she could remember. Long enough that time here had stopped behaving the way it did outside. And tonight, as she turned down a row she rarely visited, she noticed something new. A single book, sitting slightly apart from the others, its spine glowing the faintest, softest gold. It seemed to be waiting. Wren approached slowly. The book was bound in deep blue leather, worn soft at the corners the way only truly old things become soft, not through neglect, but through being held, again and again, by careful hands over a very long time. There was no title on the spine, just a small symbol pressed into the leather, a crescent moon resting inside an open palm. She lifted it down carefully, the way you might lift something sleeping. The moment her fingers touched the cover, the candle flames throughout the library, every single one dimmed softly, then steadied into a warmer, gentler glow. The fire in the hearth settled into a slow, contented crackle, like a cat curling deeper into a blanket. Wren carried the book to a large velvet armchair near the hearth, deep green, soft with age, the kind of chair that seemed to have been waiting just for this moment. She sat, she opened the cover. The first page was blank. She turned to the second, also blank. She was about to close the book gently. Some books simply needed to rest, not be read, when faint golden letters began to rise slowly to the surface of the third page, like words written in invisible ink finally catching the warmth of candlelight. The book whispered, "Only read me when you are ready to rest." Wren smiled. She settled deeper into the chair. "I am ready," she said softly, to no one, to everyone, to the book itself. And the words began to form. The story the book told was about a sailor who had spent so many years searching for a distant shore that she had forgotten what it felt like to simply float. As Wren read, the library around her seemed to soften and blur at the edges, the way a room does just before sleep. The bookshelves swayed gently, the way trees might sway in a slow wind, though there was no wind here at all. The candlelight pooled into long, warm streams of gold that drifted lazily through the air like fireflies finding their evening rest. The sailor in the story, Wren read, had charted every star, memorized every current, learned the name of every wind. She had been so determined to arrive somewhere that she had stopped noticing the simple, quiet beauty of being exactly where she was afloat, beneath an enormous sky, rocked gently by water that had carried travelers long before her and would carry travelers long after. One night, in the story, the sailor finally let go of the wheel. She lay back on the deck of her small boat and watched the stars wheel slowly overhead, and for the first time in years, she did not think about where she was going. She simply was. The boat drifted. The stars turned. The water whispered against the hull in long, slow phrases, Like a lullaby, it had been singing for longer than language existed. And the sailor finally slept. As Wren read those words, her own eyes grew heavy. The book's golden letters blurred gently into soft light. The hearth fire dimmed to embers, glowing low and warm like a sleeping creature curled in on itself. Wren did not close the book. She simply let her hand rest upon the open page, feeling the faint warmth still rising from the words. The library breathed around her, not literally, but in the way old, well-loved places seem to breathe, settling and shifting in small, comfortable ways. Somewhere high above, a shelf creaked softly, the sound of old wood easing into rest for the night. The candles burned lower, one by one, their flames shrinking to soft amber points, like distant lanterns glimpsed through fog. "This is the gift of the library between," Wren murmured, half to herself, half to the book resting warm against her palm. "Every story here is also a place to rest. You do not just read them, you are held by them." The fire popped softly, sending one last curl of orange light dancing across the deep wooden shelves. Outside, though there was no true outside here, no windows, no world beyond these walls, Wren could swear she heard, faintly, the sound of gentle waves. The same waves from the sailor's story. As if the story had left a small piece of itself behind in the room, a final lingering note of comfort. Her eyelids grew heavier. The book in her lap pulsed once, softly, like a slow and patient heartbeat. And the library, ancient and quiet and endlessly kind, settled in to keep watch while she slept. Just before sleep took her completely, Wren thought she heard the book whisper once more, so softly it might have only been imagination, or might have been the oldest kind of truth there is. "You do not need to find every answer tonight," it seemed to say. "You only need to rest. The shelf will still be here, the story will wait. You have done enough for today." Wren's breathing slowed, deepened, steadied into the soft, even rhythm of true rest. The candles dimmed to their last embers. The fire settled into silence. The shelves stood patient and tall in the dark, holding their thousands of sleeping stories, content simply to wait. And in the velvet chair, by the fadding warmth of the hearth, the keeper of the library between slept more peacefully than she had in a very long time. And so, we leave the library between for tonight. Let the old stories hold you. Let the candlelight, dim and golden, settle over your thoughts like a blanket. Let the quiet of this ancient place carry you down into deep, unhurried sleep. You have done enough today. You are allowed to rest now. Good night, keeper of stories. Sleep well,